Have you ever uploaded an amazing photo just to find out it's blurry on your feed? Well, today I'm here to show you how I sharpen my photos to look sharp and crisp on Instagram, not overly edited. Let's get right into it. First, let's talk about why this happens. Well, Instagram compresses your image to save space, which leads to lower quality uploads. That's why even the sharpest image on your screen might look blurry on your phone. But we're gonna fix that by giving you the right tool. Let's get on my computer and I'll show you my sharpening process for Instagram. First of all, I mostly edit my photos on Lightroom, like color grading, maybe masking. All that is done on Lightroom. This picture you guys are seeing, this has already been edited. I'm just gonna switch to Photoshop, which is where I do most of my sharpening. At the end of this process, I'll show you how to use only Lightroom to get the same or achieve the same sharpening. The first thing I normally do, and again, like smoothing of the skin, I'll do on Photoshop. I normally have this, which helps me, makes the work faster for me. I click on skin auto. It sharpens the image for me. Not sharpen, it smoothens the face for me, like mostly blemishes, all that. And if you can see, most of the blemishes are gone, which is good. Sharpening is the last step before export. Once you've done that, you want to shift and click on the top one. You selected the first one, shift, click on all, it's going to select all. You want to click on Control Alt Shift E, and that's going to merge the layer and create a new layer. Next thing you want to do is you want to go up here and go to your filter, and you want to go to order, you want to go to high pass, and this is very important. You want to play around between the ranges of 3 and 4. I never pass 4. I mostly stay between 3 and 3.5 depending on how the image looks, but for this we're gonna stick with 3.5. Click on OK, and now you want to go to your blending mode, and all we want to do is go to vivid light. You could use vivid light, you could use overlay, depending on what look you're going for. I normally choose vivid light because it adds a bit more contrast to it, and it kind of sharpens it a bit more than overlay. But if you're just looking for a simple touch, overlay still works. For the purpose of this video, we are gonna be using vivid light. Put it on vivid light, and now all you want to do is zoom in. You want to zoom in. For me, zooming in is holding Alt and scrolling up or down on my mouse. Now you can see that this is a bit too much. Like the sharpening is a bit too much. If you remove that, you see a smooth. If you put that, it's too much. All we want to do is zoom out, and I try to eyeball it, and I reduce it based on what I think looks nice and sharp, but not too sharp. You want to be careful of over sharpening your images because that affects it. I do about 40 to 50. Let's do 45. It looks good. This is it when it's sharpened, and this is it without sharpening. Sharpening without sharpening. So you see, it's like a subtle difference, but this changes a lot. Once I do this, my picture is sharpened. All I want to do right now is shift, click on your first layer and your last layer, Control Alt Shift E, and what we do here is I come to my panel. If you guys don't have this, I'll show you how to do it. But I come to my panel, click on details, and all I want to click on is noise remove. And once I do that, you see it kind of smoothened out the skin, right? And that's mainly how I do this. Okay, I'll show you guys how to do this manually. Click on your first layer and shift hold. Click on your last layer, Control Alt Shift E, and that's going to create the merged new layer. We want to go to filter, and we want to go to noise, reduce noise, and all you want to do here, I advise you to test this one and see what works for you. Mainly my settings would be 7, preserve details around 10, between 0 and 10, reduce color noise, put that to 30, and sharpen details. This is based on your preference. Just know if you sharpen this, like That will sharpen the image, but we're trying to remove excess sharpening. This step is to remove the excess or the overly sharpened image and qualities the pictures have. I don't recommend you passing 20 on this. For this, I would normally put this around like 7 or 6, around there. Okay. Remove JPEG artifact, don't do that. That just, see, it just makes it a bit more, I don't know how to say it, but it makes it more sharper. We don't want to do that. We just want to reduce the over sharpening just a bit. And once you do that, click on OK, and it's going to do its magic. This is the difference. This is it without the noise reduction, and this is it with the noise reduction. It's just a subtle difference, but it removes the overly sharpened qualities, right? Which is what we want to do to get that smooth, sharp looking image, because the image is already sharp. It is pretty sharp, right? Listen up. Now the most important step is exporting the image in the right format, right? To export my image, I normally export it in 4:5 ratio. I'm gonna put it in a 4:5. This looks good. Click enter, resize it. This is a 4:5. Instagram loves 4:5 ratios, right? Try to follow Instagram's guideline. I'll put on the display what Instagram recommends for exporting or for posting on the platform, but that's what we are going to follow. We'll go to File, we'll go to Export, Save for Web. You want the longest side, which is your width, to be 1080, okay? You want the width to be 1080. If you're doing this, make sure your image is either 1:1 ratio or a 4:5 ratio, okay? Longest side, which is your width, 1080. All right, that's all we're touching here. And if your settings are not the same here, you could copy the same settings. Quality, depending on the file size, right? We can see the file size is 385.1 kilobytes, which is pretty good. Anything below 1 megabyte is good, like 300, 385, 200, 500, 600 is okay. Once you start getting to the 700, 800, you want to try to reduce that, okay? Again, if you see that maybe your file size is too high, you could reduce the quality just a bit, and you could zoom in, maybe let's say 1000%, that's too much. We could see the image is still sharp. It's not too sharp because again, you've downscaled it, okay? 100% is looking good. You have 85. I normally go 90 because file size is still good. Save it. This is what the image looks like on my computer, right? This is what it looks like on the computer. Once you post on Instagram, there's no compression. Instagram is not gonna touch your image. They're gonna post it the way it is. And that's how you get that sharp, smooth, not overly edited image, but looking good when you scroll, okay? You wanna remember that when you're posting, try to post from your phone. That really helps. I noticed there's kind of a difference between posting on your computer and posting on your phone. I hope this helped. Now I'm gonna show you how you could achieve the same quality for Lightroom. This is for people that only edit with Lightroom. First of all, we wanna edit our picture. And lastly, you want to create a subject mask. I already have one created, and all you want to do is scroll down to the detail. Under your subject mask, you want to scroll down to your detail. You want to increase your sharpness to about 35, between 20 and 40%. I say 34 is good for me. We want to come back to the main tab and we want to go to details, sharpening. Under detail, go to sharpening. We want to press on Alt on our keyboard, and you see this masking. We want to move the slider just till about you see the main features highlighted in white. You see, once you do this, you see there's too much white. We want to make sure the white is on like specific spots. Let's say about 30, 34 looks nice. The only thing masking does is that it applies the sharpening to specific spots. Black means that it's not being applied to that spot, and white means it's being applied to that spot. We use this to make sure not everything is being sharp, just the spot we want. Again, click on Alt and you move your slider at the same time and it tells you, okay, this is the spot being applied. And in this case, you could increase your sharpening here just maybe by, that's too much, about 60, 70. Again, this is all up to you. About 70 is good. I'll stick with 68. 68 is good. You're done with everything. You could denoise your image. This reduces the over sharpening, or you could just come here and you could do the same thing. Hit Alt and drag the luminance, and this shows you a bit how it's being applied, but this is not recommended. All you gotta do is just increase the luminance. I do this for about 25%, and if we zoom in, we could see it's similar to what we had in Photoshop. It's not overly sharp and it's a bit smoothed. If you don't like how smooth it is, you could reduce it to like 10. Once this is done, now you're done sharpening your image. All we want to do now is export. We want to export the way Instagram requires us to export. We avoid that compression, you know. All you gotta do is come to your file settings, click on your JPEG, okay. And the only thing I do here is put this on 90%, color space, make sure the color space you have. And we go next to image sizing. We want to resize to fit width and height, okay. Or you could put long edge and you could put 1080. It's pretty much the same, but I prefer doing this 1080 and you're 1350. All right, and again, we forgot one step before doing this. I forgot to resize my image to a 4x5 or 1x1. I prefer the 4x5. 1x1 is your square, 4x5 is more portrait, and I prefer that. My portrait is not looking good, so I'm gonna just turn it to the other way. Yep, portrait, and we got it. Portrait, boom, and that's your 4x5. This is exactly how it's gonna look on your feed, not cropped, anything, straight like this. And you wanna go to your export and you wanna do the same thing as we said before. Image format, quality 90, okay. Then we wanna go to image sizing, resize to fit. The width, make sure it's 1080 and height 1350. Or you could do just long edge and 1080. We're gonna do width 1080, 1350. Again, this is if you're using a 4x5, which is what I'm using. Okay, and majorly that's pretty much it. We export. As you can see, this is our image, and what do we have? We have 473, which is pretty good. Okay, we open that and this is what our image looks like, and when you post it, it's gonna be exactly like this. That's pretty much how I sharpen and export my photos for Instagram to avoid compression. You have the Lightroom and you have the Photoshop workflow. Anyone works just fine. I just like Photoshop because I'm more used to it and I've been using it for the longest time. I actually started using Photoshop before Lightroom. I'm more of a Photoshop user than a Lightroom user. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if your quality improves, and if you're looking for more photography tips, anything about video editing or anything concerning that, this is the channel for it. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in the comment section or DM me. I mostly reply to all the comments. And that's pretty much it for today. Thank you guys for watching. It's Creator AO. We are out.